All right, mic check, mic check. One Masters podcast. I was made, of course. Got a special guest across me, man. Brother Trav back in the building. How you doing, man?
Peace, peace, peace.
How you been, man?
Everything's lovely, man. Life is good.
Take my microphone. All right, let me give you a round of applause real quick. I try to, there we go. All right.
Yeah,
You can't hear it, I can hear it. They're going crazy for you, though. Just know that. All right.
I like the sound effects.
Oh, man. All right, man. Before we get into it, anything per se, I know you've been on there a couple times for a few different things. You do a lot of things in the city. Just give them a quick rundown because I like to think that for each podcast, week by week, month by month, or, barrier by barrier, I kind of gain new audience members. So
True.
for somebody who wasn't watching last year,
Mhm.
or, when we did the mural episode or the Band of Brothers episode, you know what I'm saying? Or when you did the spoken word a couple months ago, to tell them, give them a rundown a little bit about, who you are, what you do and for the city, in the
Okay.
city, for yourself.
Yeah, I'll put it in a little nutshell.
Here we go.
Because believe it or not, everybody in Augusta does not know who I am.
That's funny, 'cause I thought you were pretty popular, man. I don't know.
No, I'm not. We won't say the P word.
There we go.
But yeah, my name is Brother Trav, the Godbrotha. I am a native of Augusta, Georgia, graduate of Glen Hills High School, old school cat. I came out in 88. That was my high school senior year, was 1988. Very much influenced by hip hop because I got a chance to see the birth of hip hop pretty much. 50 years for hip hop this year. I was born in 1970. Hip hop was born in 1973. But then hip hop really kind of got popular here in the Augusta area, I would say in the early 80s. And I was a teenager at that time, a preteen. And I would say that's kind of like the most impressionable age for a young man, for a child is probably between 10 and 13 is when you start trying to like figure out who you are. And we're very impressionable at that age. So I began to be a b-boy, a break dancer is how I express myself with hip hop.
You was a break dancer?
I was a break dancer, a b-boy.
I've talked to you a couple times. I ain't gonna lie. I don't think you mentioned that part. I think you kind of skip over that a couple times.
Yeah. There's a lot of little hidden gems out there. But yeah, just to kind of like fast forward the clock a little bit, I eventually went to college at Augusta Tech, got a degree in marketing and management, started my career in management since then. So I've been working retail management, sales type jobs since I was 19 years old. That's what I do in the daytime. Most people don't know that.
Right.
But at nighttime, I'm known as an entertainer.
Batman. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm known as an entertainer. Brother Trav, the Godbrotha. I've been promoting shows in the Augusta area since, I would say, late 1998, 1999, promoting shows before there was the internet, before they were, social media. So we had to really get out there and grind and you're talking hand to hand with the flyers. And I happened to work at the mall for many years. And that was the secret to my success when I first got launched off, was me working in the mall. Because everybody would come through there to find out, hey, what's going on? And of course, I would have all the flyers laid out like, hey, here's your choice. You can do this, you could do that. So that More Than a Masters thing, it was back in the 1990s. There was choices of things to do.
That's dope.
Right.
And so I guess I ain't had the question, but you mentioned it. I don't know if you're familiar with the promoter title today and what all it entails versus, I guess the 90s, right? What would you say might like which job you think is harder?
Oh, harder. I know which one requires more work, if you want to say harder. So, old school promotions, like I said, we had to actually physically get out there. I knew if there was a concert in town, things like that. If there were parties going on in town and I had an event coming up in another week or couple of weeks, I had to get on the grind. So you could find me late at night at Kinko's FedEx making copies, and I would bump into other promoters at 2 o'clock in the morning making copies, and we would be hitting the parking lot. You got your whole street team with you, and no matter how deep, 2, 3, or whatever, and we would cover, 1,000 cars in a weekend, easy.
So I guess you're right. If you're saying working, if you're using that as a measurement of what's harder, so to speak,
Mhm.
that would be. But it depends if you use that as a measurement, right? But I guess today's quote unquote promoter. I mean, I don't know what all they do because I'm not gonna sit here and like make it seem like they don't do nothing. But I would assume you go on your phone, maybe you make a little picture, you throw some words, some paint on that picture,
That's right.
whatever. You post it on your social media. You tag
People,
99 people,
right.
right? I don't
And,
like that
and,
by the
and
way.
that's it.
And then you go from there.
Proof, instant promoter.
No walking that night, no Kinkos,
No
no street
Kinkos,
team.
no politicking,
Mm-mm.
no going to going into businesses and establishments and trying to talk about your event to people, and spending money on radio ads
Mm.
was another thing. I'd have weekly budget that I would spend on radio ads.
Well, the plus to that is, I guess in today's you
Right.
don't need radio, technically speaking.
No.
Depending on who you are and actually how you promote. So I say that and say, because like I said, I don't want to diss the new age. I know you're not really into that anyway, but like the new age, depending on what you're doing, you could possibly be doing more than somebody from the 90s, depending on how you're going about it. Because I would think without radio, that would mean that would probably mean that you hitting, whether it's podcast, whether it's shows in the city, whether it's you go on live and you're able to garnish a certain amount of attention, that take a lot of time and effort too to build that community up to be able to say, I'm not going radio for
Right,
this
right.
for this
Yeah,
event.
yeah. Each one, you have to be diligent and put in work.
Right, right.
You have to put in work, even with the social media, because now, I've had to get with the times. So now I'm promoting on the internet, right? But there's still strategy to that. There's still ways that you can pay money and have ads sponsored and things like that. So
Right.
there's still, industry just trade secrets when it comes to really being a promoter, as to just like you said, someone who just kind of, commission somebody to make a flyer real quick, boom, share it with 100 people, tag 100 people, and you expect 100 people to show up. And it really is a little bit more than that.
That's kind of to me a interesting perspective because we were just talking before we got on air about the Angie Stone project that you listened to, and we were talking about how the sound being happy the sound was still there, right?
Mhm.
And us thinking like back in the days, well, they kind of had you like they throw you that advance money. Hey, this is your budget. I'm gonna give you a high budget, but I want the music to sound like this. Today's world versus 90s or whatever, you kind of can still stick to your own sound if you choose to, because there's so many people that can curate that sound for you if you partner with them, and then if you got a name for yourself,
Right.
they kind of can hang on that with credits and stuff of that nature. So yeah, it's kind of weird. Like
Yeah.
it's always pros and cons when you think
Right.
of like back in the day versus now. Like what's
It's
the
the, it's
pro,
the,
what's the
it's the
con?
analog versus the digital, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm kind of like a analog cat, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I want to also, maybe talk about support for a moment, right?
Yeah.
Because that's another important thing when it comes to, I think, when it comes to promoting. I think it's been one of my secrets to success over all these years is because they know Brother Trav is going to support. It might not be my event. I might not have, any special interest with the event, but I'll likely be there if it's clear on my schedule and it's
Mhm.
something I'm interested in. I just kind of feel like it goes both ways. It's hard to expect someone to come and support what it is that you're doing and be eager to support what you're doing. But then when someone else and everyone else is doing anything, you're never showing your support. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of that is very reciprocal. It goes both ways.
Yeah, Trav, I ain't gonna lie, man. I think I said that at least 20 different times. I try to do it like a Rubik's Cube 20 different ways. I'm to the point, and you never want to give up, of course, but I just think that I've come to realize that there are people who are just going to always complain about something, right? And you can give them game, you can give them insight, you can give them a book of cheat codes, and they will still figure out a way to say, but and complain instead of just
Mhm.
using what you're giving them. I
Right.
had that happen a little bit this week. I'm on the phone talking about this and third, and I'm like, well, just try it this way. Well, it can't. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you ain't even tried it though.
Right,
Like,
right.
are you just telling me what can't happen? You didn't even try it.
Yes.
And for me, at least when I tap into certain things like being a leader. So for instance, let's just use that for example. So let's say we in this media world. We in media. Let's say just of Augusta. Let's just put it at a local standpoint, right? Depending on what you're doing and how you move, you're gonna always be leader light because people are gonna like what you're doing and they're like, I want to emulate that. Or I want to follow on that path. I want the kind of success you have. If I'm in that seat and I'm kind of giving you game, I just want you to kind of accept it first before you say it can't happen. Like I don't think that's true. Or but don't give me but. Just try to
Right.
do it first,
Right.
then go from there.
Right.
But it also went to the support thing like you said, and then you gotta know how to do it. So can't do it. It can't be disingenuous either.
Yeah.
You can't just be aware because like I'm gonna just be here because if I be here, then they don't work that way. Then you'll be upset.
Right. Now also riding on that, just as a promoter, again, from a promoter standpoint, if you've noticed over the years, I've always usually promoted spoken word
Hmm.
shows, poetry shows, kind of neo soul live band instrumentation jazz shows. Why? Because that's who I am
Mm.
before I am a promoter. And so it's kind of like it goes with what you said. You can't be disingenuous with it. And because as a promoter and a businessman with a marketing degree, I could probably get 400 or 500 people into a building,
Yeah.
but I know what kind of event I would have to promote or put out there, and
Yep.
it just doesn't stand for what I stand for. So I kind of stay away from those kind of things.
Yeah, and see, I like that about you, but also just and it go back into the back like the older days versus newer days. Is like I'm not saying people in your range of just age or whatever is not gonna ever do things they don't believe in, so to speak. But that's the era you come from. Like if it's me, then that's what I'm gonna do. I'm
Mhm.
not trying to. But we in the era now where it's like microwaves, so people would try to make things them and it's not them. You'll see people doing the craziest things,
Right.
painting their nails. Like you never
Yeah,
painted your
yeah.
nails, bro.
Or
Like just doing weird
hey,
stuff.
hey, I could host a slap boxing contest, because
That's what's
that's
popping
the
now. Like,
trend,
yeah,
right? Yeah, and so if you want to ride waves,
yeah. That's what I would call. I would call it
yeah,
riding
just
wave.
like
Seeing it
wave
work somewhere
riding,
else. Let me try here.
next week it'll be another
I'm not into that,
trend.
but I think that fall under the genuine concept we talking about when you think about like promoting things that even if you're not involved in it, just things that you yourself like. Hey, I like this, so I'm sharing this so that people that also like this because normally your friends, hopefully your friends on social media and in real life, whatever, y'all got common interests.
That's the algorithm.
There we go.
That's the algorithm.
I'm not gonna ban that word no time soon, but
Okay.
next year I might try to ban it. I don't know because you're using it perfectly, but some people use it wrong. I just hate it.
Right.
But but and that's also an algorithm. They're saying that word, but uh, you know, I think that so when you sharing it, it's just genuine because like I'm not part of this guy, but I know that y'all know me for this type of events and this type of activity. Here's what's going on, so I'm sharing it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You don't have to worry about that. Um, I'm not gonna lie. One thing that I do like is and this is just me. I'm not. Honestly, I'm not crazy about the YouTube like stuff like that. I put on there just to kind of have a backslide of things. I like the clips more, but when I see a YouTube or I see you comment like the other day you commented on my Facebook and you said you commented on a reel that I posted and you was like just finished watching the full thing. Happened to check my email like maybe an hour later and sure enough it said Trav comedy, you know what I'm saying? I went there and said, oh, it's dope. You left a comment,
Right.
lengthy too, just kind of in depth,
Right.
and knows it's dope, you know what I'm saying? So it's not hard when somebody say, hey, yo, listen to this for me. Of course I'm listening, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I like music for one, but also it's like, it's that, you gotta give respect, get respect, give support, get support. It's all the
Mhm.
same. It's no different.
Oh yeah, it's a
People be
two-way street.
thinking that, and I hate when people talk about it because they always talk about it from a negative standpoint. And my own thing was before you do that, you gotta ask yourself if you did your due diligence. So you
Mhm.
a media, I'm a media, right? I ain't said this is my last one, but one thing I've been thinking is if somebody say this don't support, but this don't support or whatever, and they in the surrounding areas,
Yeah.
first thing I do is check my inbox. Cause that person never reached out to me and said, hey, I got this going on. Do you think I can come on a platform? Yeah, I think you to me, I know how you feel, but to me, I'm just my perspective. You somebody that before I even came up in media, you was already known. You known out here. Trav, everybody know you. To my knowledge. So you're not popular, but I'm just telling you from my perspective, right? But and then you'll still reach out. So if you can reach out, being the status that I might hold you at, the status that the people might hold you at, why would somebody that don't have that status think they can't do that? But
Right,
then think
right.
they can make a status. No pun
Yeah.
intended. But you
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
I get it. I get it. But, like we're living in a day and time in which people are a thing
Mm,
without formally being educated on how to be that thing.
facts.
So it's all, I could wake up tomorrow and say, hey, I'm a culinary artist, right? And start cooking and recording myself cooking and making videos and even selling plates, right? Now I'm a cook or a chef, but I didn't go to culinary school or any of that. It's just like I'm a producer,
Mhm.
I'm a this or that. And so we're missing out on a whole lot of the technical training and education that it goes to be that thing. Like, for example, I like to use say running a barbershop as an example, because a lot of barbers turn businessmen, business owners, right?
Got you.
Just like
Got you.
hairdressers. They have a passion for doing hair. They may even have a cosmetology degree, and they may be really good at doing hair. But now you open up a barbershop.
Got you.
So, but just because you know how to do hair really well doesn't really mean you know how to run that business.
Yeah.
So that person still really needs to go out and maybe try to get some marketing courses in. I've got a marketing degree that's very outdated. So the things I learned, I can kind of apply some of the core principles, but I'd have to go back.
That's funny because I don't think I remember seeing Kinko's in none of my marketing books, but I'm pretty sure they probably was in y'all's. Like,
Right, right, right.
that's funny if I think about it. But you're right. But even you acknowledging that tells me that you've already done or are doing your due diligence as far as like brushing up your skills on that profession. Even though you got a degree, you still like, well, I need more because it's different now.
Yeah, it's different now.
You know?
Right.
And what you were saying, I think that's the thing. People skip steps. And I think when you skip steps, and when we skip steps, I think a lot of things are confusing to us.
Mhm,
So we look at support as another P word I'm not gonna say, but you
mhm.
know that P word I'm talking about.
It's just a cop out.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
skipped a lot of steps. And
Right.
in doing so, you're somewhere you shouldn't even be at. So it's a reason why you're not getting what you think you deserve because
Mhm,
you're not where you should even
mhm,
be at. You just
mhm.
skipped a lot of steps. But if I say it to somebody, it's always gonna come off as you a piece of you know what I'm
It's just
saying?
not
And
gonna.
I'm not saying that, but
Right.
I
And
get it. I get
that's
it.
the other thing, right? Is being able to accept criticism.
Oh
A
no.
lot of people, and that stunts your
Mm-mm.
growth, right? If I'm not
Yeah.
able to take advice or criticism, and a person doesn't even really have to be ahead of me, so to speak, for me to be able to take advice or criticism
Yeah.
from them. I'm a listener, so I'm always kind of like drawn in. I'm a listener and a watcher, so I could observe you doing a certain thing, and like, what I see. I don't even have to call you or reach out to you and say, Bobby Boucher, can you give me some tips on how to promote my podcast or whatever? But I'm watching what you're doing.
Right. Right.
I'm watching what you're doing. How you make the real. The real draws them in. The
Yep.
real draws them in. And if they're really a person like me, a curious person like I am, that reel is now going to make me go pull up my
Full
YouTube.
context. Yep. Get the full context
Yeah,
now.
it's going to make me pull up my YouTube because now I want to hear the rest of the story.
And even vice
So,
versa, like with you, like it's times that, and it could be, like I said, everybody different. They'll think different ways. It's times that you might have a difference of opinion or just a different outlook, let's say, on something. And for me knowing that our backgrounds are a little different as far as like what we might be like super interested in and how our lenses are, no pun intended. I'm not joking on glasses. But I think that when I notice, I'm like, okay, if I'm looking from that point of view, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people can't even take that. They like, did you
Yep.
hear what such and such said? That's just dumb. Or they
Mhm.
arguing, and I'm not into. I really sit back sometimes when I get a different opinion. Let's just the same person over and over again. Then I'm not. I just hate
Yeah.
it. But if it's somebody of value, you know what I'm saying? Of that I feel like okay, they've shown me in the past that I can really concentrate on what they're saying. And I go ahead, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it from
Yeah,
that point. So
hear him out.
yeah,
Listen
yeah,
to his point.
yeah,
And a lot of times we're in a very reactionary time.
yep.
Like everything is very sensationalized, and so your first response is to kind of like, if it's not going along with what you believe, then you're going to be on attack
Yeah.
mode.
And that's why I like to joke on social media so
Right.
much because boy, man, I could say the sky blue. Somebody come in, let me tell you why it's red and YouTube and give me this. I'm like, hey, look,
Yeah.
I ain't here for all that,
Right. Right.
man.
Right.
I'm here to joke, laugh, play, do my
Yeah.
podcast in there every
Yeah.
once in a while. And I get serious here and there, but not like that.
Yeah.
Like it's never that
I've
deep.
gotten a whole lot more mild on my social media
You,
presence.
but you gotta mask things. Yeah, I realize that it's not like I said, it's not back in the day. You
Yeah.
can't be as blunt no more.
That's right.
Even now, you gotta mask the things you're masking sometimes because,
Mhm.
because if you don't mask those, they on you. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely a changing from back then to now.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's analog versus digital.
Definitely, man.
It's day
Definitely.
versus night.
And now I want to kind of go into this just because I know we're gonna talk about other things too that you here to promote. Which you hit me up in no product. I like that. I like when people hit me up promote stuff because that's what I'm here for. Believe it or not, I know why people think it's something different. I'm here to promote the city and things that the city has to offer. But speaking of the city, speaking of back in the day versus now, you're somebody who's been here for a while, just in Augusta in general. But live the life more fuller than mine's, you
Mhm.
know. See how I say words without saying people are old? I like
Yeah,
how I
right,
do
right,
that.
right. I can dig it. I
Yeah, I
can
try
dig
to,
it.
try to
I
expand
wear
my
it with a hat.
vocabulary.
I wear it with pride
You looking
though.
good on camera, by the way, man.
I
I'm not
wear
gonna
it
lie.
good
You
with
looking really
pride.
nice on
Thank you.
camera, man.
This is
Shout out to you. Uh,
53 in August.
ooh, and you don't look
Yeah.
nothing. You don't look. You've been shape. You
No
lift weights.
no Grecian formula or
No beard oil or
yeah,
nothing like
none.
that.
Oh yeah, gotta have my beard oil
Okay, I'm
now.
about to say, all right, now you
Yeah.
shining over there. You glisten a
Yeah.
little bit. Don't tell me that. Don't tell
Gotta
me
have a
that.
beard oil.
But speaking of like just back in the days and now, so how can I say this? I don't want to blame no one city. I don't want to blame music. I don't want to. There's a lot of violence in the city, but not just in the city. Just violence with young kids, young boys, right? Even in the past couple of
Yeah.
months.
Right.
I mean, just last week, somebody got killed broad daylight.
15.
I was driving with my daughter, and I passed the gas. I live in St. Lamar, so I live close by. We around here,
Oh, okay.
so I'm passing. I'm like, I like a body on the ground. I know when I see that, and just like my oldest daughter, she's just new. She's like, whoa, like what? I'm like, yes, they're dead. I can when that bag is over, that's what that means. They're dead. But you can see a lot of people around just watching. So when the news finally came, I'm like, damn, this happened. It was broad. It was light when I saw him. So I'm like, it was broad daylight. And I'm like, this is like the fifth or sixth one I've seen in too short of a span of a time.
Oh yeah.
I even think about last year when Swag went live and the whole shooting with him, not with him, but at the homecoming for Josie.
Oh yeah.
And there was kids then,
Right.
broad daylight,
Right.
old folks outside.
Right.
I want to
Yeah.
hear from you. You somebody you speak about these things whether through social media, through just speaking, and also through your spoken word.
Mhm.
I've seen plenty of not plenty of so to say, but I've seen some really really quality content from you on where police doing it or just that type of thing. Like,
Yeah.
how does that look for you and just you living the life you live and seeing this now? Like, how are you able to take this in? What is
Mm.
your outlook on it?
Right. I'll start here. I wrote a poem called Numb.
Remember that, yeah.
And this poem was written probably when Trayvon Martin was killed, and they had the riots and protests and all that going on around that.
Right.
Uh, that kind of inspired the poem. but it was what really inspired the feeling of being numb was these things happening, violence taking place, and then people on alert. And then the city cries out and says, hey, we got to do something. So they get people to gather, and it's almost like a pep rally.
Mm. Yeah.
It's almost like a pep
Yeah.
rally, and it's very charging, uh, but then it fizzles out really quickly. So the first meeting may start with 100 people, or rally is usually a rally. The first rally may have hundreds of people, and then okay, all right, here's the game plan. Now we're going to meet next week. So now that meeting might be 50 people. Okay, now, all right, so now here's what we're going to do. We're going to meet again next week, and now you might have 3 people.
Mm.
And then the enthusiasm, the momentum, and everything just kind of like dies out and flatlines until it happens again. And then you got sensationalism again, and then we react. And so the poem Numb talks about some of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And, I went from just being angry, upset, sad, and everything to where I couldn't feel no more. The killings are happening, being publicized all the time, and we get desensitized.
Well, can I ask you, would you say that even now, like with it being in the city, your backyard, how, if at all, desensitized are you, or numb to what's going on in the city now?
Mhm.
Or is it something that you starting to feel something again?
Right. Good point. Because over the past couple of years or past year or so, I've made a couple of posts. I made one very recently after this incident saying my numbness has worn off. This hurts.
Mm.
And it's not good to be numb, right? It's not good to be numb, because that's what's happening to our youth.
Yeah.
How's somebody able to just go shoot somebody and take a life and still just kind of, carry on? Because they're numb, like they don't have any sensations, they don't have any feelings. They're empty. They are void. They are programmed. They are pre-programmed, and it's just really sad. What's really frustrating is, and you kind of alluded to a little bit, so I do want to go there. What's really frustrating is the outpouring of emotion that we see from our people. If one of our young men, young ladies die at the hands of law enforcement versus if they die at the hands of another one of us, there's no rally for that. There's no stop the violence movements for that. There's no T-shirt or anything. It's just, okay, yeah, well, you might have a RIP T-shirt that his homies are going to wear, but there's no, hands up. There's no thing. That thing only exists when it's like at the hands of a cop. And I get it, because people will say, they're going to comment on this post, right? People will say, well, those are the people that we paid to keep us safe.
Oh, they took an oath.
Yeah, they took an oath. This is their responsibility or whatever. I get it. I understand all that. But this can't be allowed. There has to be an intervention. Something has to happen, because it's going in the wrong direction. So Augusta, Georgia, I looked at the stat before I came here. We've had 90 deaths in a year's time, 90 homicides in a year's time, and many of them are minors.
Damn.
This is Augusta, Georgia.
Yeah, and you think about it, if you said that somewhere else, they'd be like, that's it, that's small. But when you think about our population and what that means to our population, it's pretty overwhelming when you think about it.
It's a pretty big number, yeah. We've had
big number.
Years where we might have had 20 or 30.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then think about this. You thought that was a lot back then. Like it was getting crazy. You got 20, imagine 90.
Because it's ramping up, because it's ramping this way. And that's why I say until there's some type of intervention. But, we got to get to a point where we're not just trying to cut the weeds down with a lawnmower. We really have to get down to what's going on at the root of the problem, at the root of the cause. And that's where the conversation needs to be around. These kids, we talk about these kids as if they just got hatched out. Our kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are our kids.
You know, and I wanted to touch on this at some point, not too soon after things happen, because I feel like then it's about that. But one of the things, and I don't know if you want to expound on this or not, but one of the things that I really, really don't like is when it's gonna sound bad, but a young kid does fall victim to a homicide, and then at the wake or funeral or like the gathering or whatever, you see his friends or whatever, and maybe the family, they mourning a death, which is fine, do that. But you see a bunch of young kids that's mourning, they take the pictures, to just to show the memory, but they got gang signs up, and I'm like, ain't that probably the problem in the first place?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not just me. I don't know like what your stance is, and I get if your stance isn't what's on mine, but I'm not so anti-gang to where I'm like, I don't understand the culture. I don't understand what we up against, depending on what your environment is like.
Mhm.
I'm not. I get that, but
Yeah.
when you got a bunch of young kids,
Right.
and then you have a mom asking why,
Right.
and then I see that picture,
Right.
and I still see that mom asking why,
Right.
and I'm like, well, maybe the problem possibly
Right.
is in front of you.
Right.
It
And,
just so happens that everybody else might have been lucky that day.
right. And then look at this. The problem isn't so much the gangs. The problem is gangs do crime.
Yeah.
That's the issue. And it's the crime that's leading to, the violence and deaths. Somebody shorted somebody you robbed somebody,
I want to interject there, because that is, we talk about old versus new, right? That's probably the issues we coming up we dealt with, which we thought kind of was silly back then, but now it's not even those issues, not even issues. It's just you live here. It's just simple as that. Like, you live here.
Just because you exist.
That's it.
And you wear the wrong color.
You live here. You hang with them.
Mhm.
I seen that picture you posted on Instagram.
Right. Well, now everybody got ops.
Oh, boy.
So
We need to ban that word. That's the word we need to ban. Cause I ain't gonna get too deep into it, but what I don't like about the ops thing, and like I said, depending on people's background and whatever, but a lot of people don't even have ops. They just talk like that, and I think you bring that energy upon yourself
Okay.
by just saying, "Oh, ops." No, sometimes the people that you are considering your ops that are really out here doing what they need to do to survive or whatever they're doing, not worried about you at all.
Right.
But because you keep talking this op talk,
Right.
you flying on the radar for no reason.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And because you're doing dirt.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Because when you do dirt and don't treat people fairly and nice and kind, you're always kind of on alert, because who's after me?
Yeah.
Because you got that coming back to you.
What do you what do you think though? Like, as far as just in Augusta, I do think far as that gang life and this as it pertains to Augusta, it's probably so far gone now. It's really hard to reel that in at this point. I know every year they do a bus. They do yeah, I guess let's call it a bus, a sweep or whatever, what have you.
Right.
A couple years ago, they did one in, I think, in Meadowbrook, and then you'll then see, okay, you do a sweep, they saw 7 murders because they already knew about them the whole time, but they was investigating. I get all that, cool. But I'm also thinking about the youth,
Mhm.
and where does that lead them? What could be done to kind of turn this around, and if not turn it around, at least make it to where it's not happening so often. I feel like once a month now,
Right.
a teenager gets killed.
It
And
seems
it's in
like it. It
Augusta.
feels like it. Yeah. It's starting to feel
And
like
this is too small of a place.
Right.
I feel like either the actual kid, it's himself, his sibling, auntie, uncle, or mother.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're connected. You feel it.
Right.
You know? What like in your
Yeah.
mind, what could be done? What
Right.
do we do then? Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? How do we
That's
approach this? How do we get past this?
Right. That's the kind of hopeless feeling. But those things that you just named, the sweeps and the bus and the, scooping everybody up, driving them off in the paddy wagon or whatever, that's the lawnmower approach that I was talking about, right? You're not gonna solve the issue that way because it's just cutting the weed off from the top. But the root is still there. So until we can get down to the root of the problem, like I was saying earlier, it's gonna take young boys look for men to look up to. I'm at a point now where when I see my father's friends, my uncles, and things like that, when I see them, I make it a point to tell them thank you for being a
Mm,
positive influence on my life. Not that they were so-called mentors and they took me fishing and I learned how to bait a hook and all that stuff there. I think a lot of times we overthink things and maybe make it a little bit too complicated. And when you do that, you can discourage your own self because it sounds like, oh, I ain't got time to be trying to
mhm,
adopt a kid and do this and that or whatever. But what I'm talking about is just be you and positively be a good influence. That's why I thank my dad's friends because each one of them were successful in their own right. And I got a chance to see, I'm born in the 70s. I got a chance to see black men on the way up, professional men, college grads who were, married and, had families and loved their wives and were serious about whatever their professions were and everything like that. But at the same time, they were cool, genuine people that like to party and hang out and laugh a lot. And these are the people who my dad was around, a lot of positive people who were, very influential in the Augusta community now. But when I see them, I thank them because it took each one of them to mold me into who I am.
yeah.
Like I said, we watch. Little boys watch, right? They watch. You'll see a little kid at this basketball court. He's too young and too small to play, but he's watching. He's just like taking it all in, right? He's taking the language,
Mhm,
he's taking it all in. And this becomes his reality, his environment.
yeah.
This becomes his reality.
And I wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying as far as surrounding our youth with positivity and positive people, right? Uh, the only question I would raise with that is, especially in today's society, like you talking about, like I said, once again, back then versus now, right?
The analog.
That probably worked a little bit, not a little bit, a lot back then, a lot more than it can work today back then. And the reason I say that because these kids go home, they go on Instagram, they go on YouTube, they watching, no disrespect to nobody, watching DHat Diminix, they watching Lil Durk, they watching NBA Youngboy, and I'm not trying to pin it on them or pin it on music. However, when you mentioned soaking it all in, that kid, that 2-year-old at the park soaking it all in, and that could be a basketball player, there are people that sit at the computer on their phone soaking
Soaking
that
it
all
all
in.
in. Right.
Mind you, they ain't never shot a gun day in their life.
Right.
Has no reason to be in a gang. But
Right.
because, oh, I like that guy, he's cool. I like that what he raps about, he's cool.
Mhm.
Okay, who got guns? Let me go. And it's just that simple. It's just
Right.
that simple. Like
Right.
it's not even when you becoming a product of your environment, but you becoming a product of what you surrounding yourself with.
How about this for a sound bite? Things won't get better until thugging becomes uncool.
Yeah. If that's possible.
It's been cool ever since the gangsters and the prohibition that the thugs and gangsters were always the cool guys, right?
Yeah, not for nothing. My favorite decade is the Roaring Twenties, and that was like the epitome of thugging and
That's
gangsters.
where I'm going with it, right?
So
And they were cool.
yeah,
They
yeah.
were they were cool. The
There's
people
no
wanted
era where they're not cool, actually.
Yeah, people wanted to be like them.
So when you think about it, everything we saying, we up against a whole. whole century. It's 2020, right? 1920. We up against 100 years.
This thing's been, it's been a slow boil, my man. You know what I'm saying?
You got to
It's
think.
been the stove has been on 3 for 100 years, just getting hotter and hotter and hotter.
Not to be that guy, but you think about even slavery and mistreatment, and we still kind of going through that, and it's been well over 100 years. So I'm not trying to be that person that's like thinking like this can't happen, of course, because things this conversation that we have right now, it makes me it really makes me. When I was younger, I hated this saying, and maybe because I was more of a go getter when you're younger. You young, you don't know no better. You just think you could think the world at your hands. You gonna grab the world when you get older. Like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. Then life happened, of course, and you start to fall back a little bit. But when I was young, I hated the saying was if I can change one person, or if I can make one person, if I can touch one person, if I can reach one person, I succeed. I used to be like, that's horrible.
Yeah.
I used to think that like that's horrible.
Right.
It's 400 of us in the school. You just care about one person,
Right.
but I get it now.
Yeah.
I didn't get it then,
Right.
but I get it now.
Right. Exactly.
Because
I-
you have to, even for yourself, as somebody you're in my end that's talking about this and thinking about how we can kind of make a positive out of something, you have to give yourself some kind of gauge to where like, hey, you did good doing this at least.
Right. And
You
that's
know?
what I was saying a little earlier, right? Is we can't try to like overthink it. And because the mountain looks too big, right? It's just, oh my God, how do we save all these kids? How do we save everybody? And it's just like, it's just too big of a mountain to climb. And so the each one teach one, that's why that's a thing for sure.
You said, how do we save all the kids? But to be honest with you, the answer is you don't. I hate to say it. You don't. You don't save all of them. And that's the hard truth. Like, now, you know the Nipsey saying, everybody can't go. Everybody ain't gonna get saved.
Right.
Everybody ain't getting saved.
Right. Right. Now, on the flip side, I've seen some really sharp kids, right? I know some really sharp kids personally, like very talented, very mannerable, very respectful, smart, intelligent, driven, all those things. All those things. And I draw inspiration from them because they're able to be that in this day and age.
Yeah.
Around those kind of peers that I've been into the
Yeah.
schools. I see what's happening. I saw a thing on Facebook earlier today where I saw a graduation at Harvard, not Howard, Harvard, and it was 100 Black students graduating. To me,
Yeah.
that's just like so impressive. But where are their stories? Like, why is that was not flashed in front of our face all day,
It's like
24/7? Is the excellence? Why is that not? And that's why I say when thugging becomes uncool, when it becomes cool to want to be that business owner who really, made it out the mud, as they say, that's what's cool. Doing crime for a living is not cool because it's only going to take you one of two places, right? Dead or in jail. That's not cool. Is to do crime for a living, rob people from stuff that they worked hard for and earned their hard-earned money, spent, buying things that they wanted.
Yeah.
And then you take them. Like, it's just, I don't get it. I don't have respect for thieves and things like that. I don't get it. Like, it's just not a lifestyle to me that somebody would want to strive to be.
Yeah, when you say strive to be, that is kind of wild, right? Yeah, I'm just gonna take everybody's stuff, let them work hard.
Right.
Wake
I
up
mean, the
one
prison
morning.
is like full of people like who did that, are in prison trying to get better at that.
Yeah, yeah. But we in a like I said, the environment is rough, man. I was talking to a guy the other day, and he did some time, and honestly, I don't even know if you're gonna break all that down, you gotta even break down prison because I hate to say, you said when thugging becomes uncool, but you gotta think about right now, prison is cool to some people. Prison is cool because you got people coming home from prison like nothing happened, like it was all good in there.
Right. And then you got to have a story.
So
You can't have no respect on the in the hood if you ain't got no story.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be able to relate. You got to be able to relate.
Yeah, it's real tough. I think that, and even like and I guess it's a good segue into just a organization you're a part of. I never did mentoring really. I mean, I had a younger brother, so I would say I did all my life. But as far as with other people, never really did it. And one time we went mentor at one of the roughest school. I think it might have been Murphy. We went mentor there for like a week or two, and you get to learn and see these kids that act out, and you realize that there's reason behind the acting out. But if it's not addressed, sometimes that turns into other things, and then to other things. Because now you act out long enough, you get a reputation. Now you got to decide whether you want to keep that rep, because
Mhm.
that's what's making you the P word. I'm not trying to use
Yeah.
in school, or do you want to change? Which you're too young to know about change right now. You know what it means, but you don't really know what that can do for your life. So
Mhm.
most times you pick to continue your rep, and then it gets you into a whole bunch of other things. But when this caught early on, oh, this guy just needs attention, and the person gets it. That's you. That
Right.
one person we talking about,
Right.
you know. And
Right.
I think that and I know y'all do that a lot with like band of brothers. Yeah, do mentoring. Y'all do community outreach. Y'all talk to the young kids. Y'all talk to the youth. Y'all promote positivity. Y'all preach positivity. Y'all throw events in the daytime. Hey, look, you ain't gotta go do that. Come here and have a good time in the day. Successful events. I think and I think that's needed as well. I think that y'all are a very instrumental part of Augusta, regardless of what's going on. I do think that it probably could be worse without an organization like y'all too. So
Thank you. Right.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Band of brothers.
So I want to get into yours first before I get into the actual band of brothers and what's going on with that.
Okay.
So talk to me a little about that. I know you're throwing a summer.
Yes.
It says summer, I know, but it's a day party.
Right.
What before you get into what it is, what is it with day parties for you?
Okay, I want to talk about
Like why?
that.
And it's called Summer Tropical Paradise
Yes,
Day Party Edition.
it's called the Bring On Summer
Okay, bring on some. I'm sorry,
Tropical Paradise
party.
Day Party Edition. So I'll start here. I'm a storyteller, so it's like, okay, I'll start here. Um, so I'm promoting, kind of like I was saying a little bit earlier, I'm promoting events for people like me, right? And I'm now middle aged, probably older than middle age right now. And we still like to go out. We still like to have fun. We still like to dance, party, drink, socialize, but with less frequency.
Mm. Well, what that mean? Tell me what that
With less frequency
mean.
and
He repeated it
earlier
Okay.
nights.
I like that. Okay.
Okay.
I like that.
All right. And so I'm gonna tell you the concept behind what we've got going on now. And I'm so thankful for you giving me this platform to be able to explain it. Uh, so what I've decided to do is it's a series of parties that are quarterly, seasonal,
Mm.
and it's the Bring On series. And we're ushering in every single season. So the first one that we did was Bring On Spring.
Mm.
And and everyone's gonna have a theme. That one was a white linen party. Turned out beautiful. This one's Bring On Summer. And now this is a tropical paradise day party. But they're all gonna be day parties, which kind of goes to what we were saying. I'm promoting to people who are my age. Those people are not hanging out to 2 o'clock in the morning anymore.
Probably
They're
not safe
not.
in Augusta either right now.
Yeah,
So.
like you a regular party or event would normally start around 10. If I didn't have anything going and I was at the house at 10 o'clock, I would probably be nodding. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just I would probably be ready to go to bed around that time. So what we've done is we're really shooting this towards those people who are a little bit more mature, still like to party, still like to hang out. We're gonna do it once a quarter, Like I said, this is called Bring On Summer, the Tropical Paradise Day Party Edition. This one's at Icons Event Center. We've got two DJs, which I also kind of want to talk about this a little bit too. It's DJ Michael Mayhem, who's an Augusta native, but I'm bringing in another DJ who's now been to Augusta twice. This will be his third time. He's coming from Atlanta, Georgia, by way of Chicago, and he is an original house music, Chicago house music DJ, which now brings me to here, house music. So if you've been following me at all lately on social media or actually in real life, you kind of notice that me and my wife, we've been pushing house music. We are really house music enthusiasts. We travel up and down I-20 to Atlanta, very frequent for house music parties and events. Is everywhere. What Southern Soul is here in Augusta, Georgia, house music is in Atlanta and a whole lot of other cities,
Gotcha.
a whole lot of other cities. But it's that kind of music that it makes you dance. It's feel good music. It's music that you can socialize to and have a good time. If it just want to be music that's playing in the background, house music is that as well. But what draws me into house music is the power that it has to bring people together. Now, we've been to several house music events. The average house music event, you're going to see people my age, but you'll also see people 20, 21. You'll see people of all ages, races, background, ethnicities, backgrounds, LGBTQ, straight, all in one building having a good time. And how often does that happen?
Never for me. I never seen that all that. Yeah.
At a house music party?
Normally it's like, all sectioned
yeah,
off.
exactly. So what my intention is now to try to, I don't want to say spearhead because it makes it sound like nobody was doing it before me. Because there are so I've connected with a couple of house music DJs here in Augusta that are doing house music, kind of like sparse and really not connected and things like that. So
Real quick, I just want to say, I want to throw it out there. And it's okay to not be first at things, people.
Right.
There's people, and if you're watching this, it's okay to not be first at
it's
something.
okay to not be first,
It's
but I
okay.
didn't want to use the word spearhead and not
I
really
got
be
you.
able to. But I'm taking on a challenge here at trying to popularize house music in Augusta. I've created a Facebook page called the Augusta Metro House Music Heads. I know there's house music heads here. On Facebook, it's the Augusta Metro House Music Heads. Follow us there. We're trying to create a movement. And I know they're here. I mean, we've got a military base, Fort Gordon. There are people here from everywhere. And they're looking for us. And they're looking to unite and join up. So house music is one of the genres of music that we play at the Bring On series. But it's really a dance party. So we're playing reggae, up tempo, art, Mikey comes in with the funk and the R&B and, James Brown classics and things like that. Music to make you feel good and make you move. We're celebrating. We're bringing in the new season. So summer's on the way. This is called the Bring On Summer Tropical Paradise Day Party Edition. And you get to wear all your tropical Hawaiian clothes and things like that. Picture going on vacation to your favorite tropical paradise. How would you dress? How would you feel?
Yeah, okay.
We're going to recreate that. When you come into Icons, you're going to feel it, see it, taste it. We've got Grace for Taste Catering. She's an awesome chef. She's going to be selling plates at the white party. She sold out because everybody was buying 3 and 4 plates. So she's going to be making an island menu. She gave me a sneak peek and told me she's going to be doing pineapple bowls.
Okay.
I can't wait
That's
for
dope.
the jerk salmon pineapple bowl that she announced. So yeah, this is going to be dope. It's going to be a good time. I got vendors in the house selling merch and clothes and all kind of stuff. It's just a very festive atmosphere. And really it's kind of kicking off Juneteenth week, which is coming right behind it.
Before I get into the Juneteenth, I want to ask you, like, what what came to mind when you decided to get two DJs? Like why two? And then what are they going to be doing? Like
Okay. Well, in this case, it's because the event is from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's 5 hours. So that's a long time for any one DJ to work. So
okay,
we're going to do Mikey first. He comes in and he's going to DJ the first couple of hours. And then DJ Tony Jacks from Atlanta, he's going to come in. He's going to wrap it up.
okay,
Yeah,
that's dope.
but
That's dope.
it's beautiful. Last time, and there's video images out there from Bring On Spring. If you go to Facebook and just put in Bring On Spring, you'll see it, all the pictures and videos. And I mean, they were going to church on a Sunday, Sunday afternoon.
Well, that's dope. It sounds amazing. I'm gonna make sure I put that clip just at that for tomorrow. But I also wanted to address, so you're starting off with that. Was that like meticulous for you? Like, did you calculate that? Like that Juneteenth week is coming on, so let's start here and then do the rest of the week.
Yes, well, kind of. I kind of
Okay, this is you. This is yours. This is not
right.
Band
This
of
is
Brothers.
this is
strictly,
not Band of Brothers. This is not Juneteenth. This is something separate.
right.
But yeah, I I kind of, because what I really wanted to do is I wanted to always usually be on that weekend prior to whatever date the season starts.
Okay, got you. Oh,
Right.
okay,
So
okay,
summer
okay.
starts on
Starts.
June 21st. I think that's the
Yeah.
start of summer,
Yep.
which that weekend right there would have been Juneteenth. So
Gotcha.
I didn't choose that weekend on purpose. That's why I went to the 11th.
Okay,
Yeah,
makes
because
sense.
it's not a Juneteenth
And
event.
you're saying bring it on, so like we're getting ready for it.
Yeah, it's bring
Gotcha.
on. We're ushering in the new season.
That's dope. That's dope.
Mhm. Wait to bring on fall. I'm planning that far ahead.
I'm curious how you're gonna do wintertime because it's gonna be cold.
That's right, and it's gonna be a theme for that.
Maybe
too.
I don't know. The weather's
Yeah,
crazy.
you
out
never
here. It
know.
might not be
Yeah,
cold.
you never know.
You might have to bring your own
Hey,
snow.
people party in the winter.
Definitely. No, it definitely do.
As a matter of fact, oddly enough, and I've learned this over all my years of promoting, is it's harder to promote during the summer. Promoters and clubs and venues make their money in the winter,
Yeah, nothing else
in
to
the
do.
cold weather months, as opposed to when it's hot in the summer and people are more prone to be outside
Mhm.
rather than inside.
Make a lot of sense.
Hmm.
So, all right, you got that event going on, and then now, I don't know if you call it that. I call it a headache only because I get a lot of behind the scenes conversations, like listen to you on the phone or Q on the phone or swag. And I know it's a headache when y'all so passionate, y'all trying to put a lovely event together for the city and bring awareness to Juneteenth. Talk to me about that. Some of the things y'all got going on this year, and how y'all plan to kind of bring awareness this year as opposed to the other years.
Okay. All right. So this is the Band of Brothers 7th annual Juneteenth festival.
7 long years.
7th annual Juneteenth festival.
Mm.
I still have to always repeat that the Band of Brothers came together to do Juneteenth. It's the reason why we exist. Before we were called the Band of Brothers and even had a name or even realized that we were a group of guys that came together to do Juneteenth.
Yeah.
And then we kind of like, you know what? Well, we joined up, so maybe we should do something. Maybe we should stay together and stick together and start to do things throughout the year and not just wait on Juneteenth to do something again. So the Band of Brothers was birthed out of Juneteenth instead
Makes
of
sense.
Juneteenth being birthed out of Band of
Brothers.
Brothers. But with that being said, oh man, there's been a steady progression. You know, we started out at Pendleton King Park.
I remember that.
Yeah, we went to May Park. We did the Daniel Field Airport,
Yeah. Rain day. Yeah.
which got rained, and then we ended up
Yep.
at Shelley Jones Community Center. So we've been moving around. But this is our second year here at the Augusta Common downtown on Broad Street. And last year, according to what do they call it? According to analytics, and our president Swag will tell you all the analytics. According to analytics, we had 20,000 people come through last year.
Mm.
So
amazing.
our goal is to, I don't know if I want to say it's a goal, but it's a real good looking challenge out there, is to attract as many people downtown as Arts in the Heart of Augusta does.
Mm, that'd be nice. It was crowded.
20,000 people came through. And now we've got an even wider range. So they're now giving us from 7th Street on Broad to 10th Street blocked off.
Mm.
No traffic will flow through there. We've got 150 vendors. We've topped it off at 150. More people still wanted to join, but we had to finally okay, we can't take any more. 150 vendors, performers, kind of activities for the kids. I also have to highlight that the Juneteenth festival this year is on the 19th, which is Juneteenth. So the date of Juneteenth is June 19th, which falls on a Monday. So we'll be out there celebrating on a Monday. Usually we're in the weekend.
Yeah, Saturday.
Now
Sunday.
we're going to aim to always keep it on whatever date is the 19th, because that's the national holiday. So the 19th, if next year it's a Tuesday, the festival will be on a Tuesday, because that's the holiday. It's like the 4th of July. That's the holiday.
Or Cinco de Mayo. I was gonna, cause
right.
They don't do it on the 6th because it's Saturday. They do it on the 5th. They don't give a damn what day it is. It's the 5th.
Same concept. Where it's the 19th, so we're doing it on the 19th. That's the day that
Hey, look, we gotta stay in alignment with everybody doing for their heritage. If you're doing that for your nationality, that's what we gonna do. Nobody else do it. Nobody else pick other days. So why will we? Makes sense.
Right. But what we're so excited about this year is we have the one and only Goody Mob coming to Augusta, Georgia.
Oh, yeah, I'm clapping up for Goody Mob. Let's talk
Goody
about.
Mob. Yes,
That's big.
That's big. Thank you.
That is huge.
Thank you very much. Where's the camera? Thank you very much to all the citizens in the city of Augusta for supporting us throughout the year. We always do several little fundraisers. Usually us cooking on the grill, Bomani out there grilling and selling plates and stuff like that. We raise money because you guys come out there and support us. So thank y'all very much. We want to thank the Augusta Commission, the city of Augusta, the mayor for all getting behind us, and the Parks and Rec department for getting behind us. It's because of all these donations and money from the actual community that we're able to bring down a group like Goody Mob.
Yeah, that's dope.
And an event like this to happen for free. We've got another band that's coming down, the Red Sample Band out of Atlanta. They travel all over the place. You can YouTube them, but they've got really big tubas, and it's just going to be a really dope event from 12 to 9.
Ooh, 12 to 9.
It's 3 DJs, 2 hosts, several performers, and just a good time from 12 to 9, Monday the 19th. Monday the 19th at the Augusta Common in downtown on Broad Street. Come on and hang out with us. It's going to be a really good time. But that's actually the conclusion of our Juneteenth celebration, because our Juneteenth celebration is actually going to start on that Tuesday. So it's really Juneteenth week now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that Tuesday prior, the week prior, I don't have the dates in my head, but we've teamed up with Augusta Tech, and Augusta Tech and the Band of Brothers. We did this last year. We do a community cleanup. So we choose a neighborhood to go out and pick up trash. Help beautify the neighborhood. That's Tuesday morning. I can't remember the time. But if you go to Juneteenth Augusta on Facebook, you'll see all these details.
Got you.
Juneteenth Augusta on Facebook. That's Tuesday morning. Then Thursday, we have a health forum. So we've partnered up with Augusta Tech. We have a health forum at Augusta Tech from 6 to 9 on Thursday. Very important. We think about having fun and all that stuff, but health is wealth. And that's one of the things that really need to be talked about in our community is our health. We talked about violence a little earlier, but our health is another thing that is taking us out.
Definitely.
Is poor health. So the health forum on Thursday at Augusta Tech from 6 to 9. And then Friday, There's an art expo at Humanitree with Brother Baruti, who's also a member of the Band of Brothers.
Okay,
So
shout out
there's
to
an
him.
art exhibit that's going to be taking place Friday night, I think from 6 to 9. Uh, Saturday and Sunday, we don't have anything on our schedule, but catch the Band of Brothers in the streets.
That's what I was gonna say. Normally on Saturday and Sunday, I follow for a long time, since the beginning of time, really. On Saturday and Sunday, what y'all do is if somebody else in the city is throwing something, y'all go support. Which go back to what we said in the beginning.
Support.
You gotta give support to get support. So
That's right.
even through y'all, every time y'all do a week or a 3-day event, y'all always leave a day where it's like we're not doing nothing this day. Let us know what y'all are doing, and we'll all come out there. And I think that's always like that y'all did that. Like y'all set a day to where others can also throw events. Because just to be honest, I'm not trying to say somebody's not this or this that, but when y'all throwing an event, it's pretty a big deal. So if somebody's just throwing an event, y'all leave room within that time. Hey, y'all got these days to throw events, but guess what? We'll also come to those.
Right.
I think that's dope. That's dope that y'all do that.
Because there's so many different events going on in the city. There's a lot of Juneteenth events going on this year.
Yeah.
Last year, I was actually able to take part in the celebration in Aiken, South Carolina for Juneteenth. And they had a great crowd for that. So there's no hate or animosity or no competition. It's not a versus thing for us or anything like that. The whole idea 7 years ago was really like to get the word out about Juneteenth and let people understand and have pride in knowing that this is our Freedom Day. And we see that this happened. Like that was before the federal holiday was approved and everything.
And that's what it should be about.
It's a win-win.
Definitely just bringing awareness to people.
Bringing awareness.
And then just once you're aware, celebrating it, like you would do any other holiday.
Yeah,
so.
the sense of pride. I understand we're going to eat, drink, and be merry, but stop for a moment and think about, as they say, the reason for the season. In 1865, our people were in bondage and they were freed. And we're their descendants.
Yeah. Gotta celebrate that.
Right. Those are our ancestors. So we have to celebrate that.
I will be remiss if I didn't ask you this, but I need to know what your shirt means. Like, what's that about your shirt? Melodies for Mellow Days.
Right. So the shirt, Melodies for Mellow Days. On the arm right here, you'll see Brother Trav presents Hidden Gems. So my radio show called Brother Trav Presents Hidden Gems, which has been running for 6+ years now on Around Here Radio. 6+ years, every week on a Sunday from 2 to 4. And one of the lines that I say in the intro to the song, intro song to the show is melodies from mellow days to get you in the mood.
There we go.
Brother Trav Presents Hidden Gems is the perfect groove.
I like that.
Right. And so it's melodies for mellow days. It comes on Sunday afternoon, just probably the mellowest period of time in the United States, right?
Not for nothing, but it's just funny that I'm looking at what you're saying, and a lot of times people do come on the platform, especially this one here, and not a lot, but sometimes I see people, and I always talk about when they do that, they come here and they got so many other things they're promoting that they're doing. You promote one thing right now, but you got other things you got going on, but yet and still you were still cognizant to change your shirt, put your shirt on. Just okay, I didn't ask. I'm gonna do my job though, but if I didn't ask, they can see it.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but sometimes I'll have people come in and they won't. I'm like, is that your shirt? Oh no. Well, why wouldn't you wear it?
Marketing.
But
yeah,
that's that degree. So
it's
you gotta brand yourself though.
Right. Yeah, you do. And these shirts will be on sale at the Bring On Summer Tropical Paradise Day Party on Sunday between 3 and 8 p.m. at Icons Event Center. You can get your tickets now on sale at ticketleap.com. Ticketleap.com. Just go there, hit search, put Bring On Summer Tropical Paradise. It'll pop up. Those tickets will be going off of sale Saturday. So get them.
Is it more at the door?
It is more at the door.
All right, y'all. Tighten up. It's more at the door.
Yeah. And I don't want to hear no talk about the door price because we sold early bird tickets for 3 weeks.
Be
for
prepared.
$15.
That's all I have to say.
And,
Be prepared. But
yeah.
have a good time.
Yeah,
you
right.
know?
It's going to be a blast. So we having a great time.
Yeah. And honestly, you've thrown other events. It's not your first one. It's not your 100th one. You've thrown a lot of events. And this is just something new that you're doing as far as new to bring in season. Yeah.
It's a series. I call it the Bring On series. The Bring On Spring, Bring On Summer.
You had a series. I won't say a series, so to say, but you had your thing when you were doing at Oak at one time, if I'm mistaken, right? Wasn't it?
Right. We had a little run at Oak with verbal therapy, which that's my spoken word show. And over the years, that's morphed and changed. You know, it's been at several different venues. My spoken word show is always called Verbal Therapy. So no matter where I come, when I decide to come back, where it's at is Verbal Therapy. That's the name of it.
And this day party, this Sunday is at Icons.
This is at Icons Event Center.
Okay.
And it's a party. It's going to be a good time. You can come out there and laugh at us old folks out there cutting the rug.
even use the old saying. That's funny.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And if the weather cooperates, we'll be indoors and outdoors.
Okay. Well, that's dope that y'all prepared just in case it wasn't, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of rain this year. It's kind of wild. A lot of rain this year.
The weather's been quite odd.
Yeah, and I'm a retail, so you know they just killing us, but it's what it is, man. Anyway, this was dope talking to you. Can I get one of those? Can I get that?
Absolutely. You can have more than one.
Appreciate that. You sent it to me on my Facebook too, but I want to get one just in case I take it to the job.
Yeah, you can have more than one.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you coming through. I always appreciate you talking to you too. So just be a good conversation, you know. And I actually thought about doing it as far as, but just putting it in the other room with both of us on camera because it's more conversation based. But I don't know. You came in, I said he looks so bright that I want to, you know, look, beard right. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, his sparkle.
The shirt right. I said, nah, he got me on camera on his own. I can't mess his style up. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't want to mess you up.
They hear you. You're just gonna be doing the Vlad thing, getting your Vlad on.
I'll try, man. Hold it down, man.
Yeah,